Jagmeet Singh is speaking. We're hearing that he is going to support the Trudeau government next week and not vote in favor of a non-confidence motion tabled by the Conservatives.
Canadians are fighting a battle for the future of the middle class. Justin Trudeau has proven again and again he will always cave to corporate greed.
That there is a politician that's willing to turn away, to look away while India engages in some of these heinous crimes.
That governments have been in when there's minority governments. We're going to look at each vote, make a determination. It's very different from when we were in agreement.
Remember when Jagmeet Singh was the fresh face of Canadian politics? The charismatic leader who promised to shake up the system and bring real change to Ottawa? Fast forward to today, and Singh's political career is in freefall. From rising star to liberal puppet, we'll show you how Singh's compromises have cost him everything, including the trust of his supporters. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. In 2017, Jagmeet Singh made history as the first visible minority to lead a major Canadian political party. This charismatic Sikh lawyer from Scarborough, Ontario, burst onto the national stage with a style and energy that electrified the NDP. Singh's journey to the top wasn't easy. Growing up, he faced bullying and discrimination because of his turban and brown skin. But instead of letting it break him, Singh used these experiences to fuel his passion for social justice. He became a criminal defense lawyer, fighting for the rights of society's most vulnerable. Singh's political career took off in 2011 when he won a seat in the Ontario legislature. His sharp debating skills and fashionable image quickly caught people's attention. He wasn't your typical politician. Here was a guy who could rock a designer suit, ride a bike to work, and fearlessly take on his opponents. When Singh announced his bid for the federal NDP leadership, many doubted a turban-wearing Sikh could win over the party faithful. But Singh's campaign was a social media sensation. His TikTok dances and Instagram stories connected with young voters in a way no other Canadian politician had before.
And deliver relief and restore hope. Fix healthcare, build homes you can afford, stop price gouging.
Singh's popularity gave the NDP a much-needed boost. Party membership skyrocketed by over 50% during the leadership race. Polls showed the NDP gaining ground on the Liberals and Conservatives. Suddenly, people were talking about the NDP as a real contender in the next election. As the leadership convention approached, the excitement around Singh reached a fever pitch. Could this young outsider really pull off an upset and take control of one of Canada's oldest political parties? On October 1, 2017, NDP members gave their answer. Singh won a resounding first ballot victory with 53.8% of the vote. In his acceptance speech, Singh promised to build a Canada where no one is left behind. His supporters went wild, seeing Singh as the progressive champion who would finally lead the NDP to power.
We're not going to listen to someone who wants to cut the things that people need. Right now, Canadians need relief, not more cuts. We've got people's back.
But Singh's honeymoon as leader would be short-lived. The real test of his leadership was about to begin, and it would push Singh and the NDP to the breaking point. Singh's victory lap was cut brutally short. For nearly 2 years, the NDP's new leader couldn't even set foot in Parliament. How could Singh possibly lead a national party without a seat in the House of Commons? This unprecedented situation left many wondering if the NDP had made a terrible mistake. Leading from the sidelines proved to be a nightmare for Singh. He struggled to make headlines or land any meaningful blows against Trudeau's Liberals. Critics within the party started grumbling. Was this fresh-faced outsider really up to the job?
Jagmeet Singh is speaking. We're hearing that he is going to support the Trudeau government next week and not vote in favor of a non-confidence motion tabled by the Conservatives.
Singh's handling of key issues only added fuel to the fire. His wishy-washy stance on pipeline projects alienated both environmentalists and energy workers. When asked about complex policy matters, Singh often fumbled or gave vague non-answers. The party's poll numbers took a nosedive, and donations dried up faster than a Saskatchewan creek in July.
I love our country. I love our democracy. I would do everything to protect it, to protect the people. I can't imagine.
But Singh's biggest problem was one no one saw coming. The man chosen to lead Canada's left-wing party couldn't connect with its core supporters. Rural and working-class voters, once the backbone of the NDP, were turning away in droves. Singh's slick social media presence and designer suits didn't resonate in union halls or small-town diners. As the months dragged on, pressure mounted for Singh to win a seat, any seat, and prove he belonged in Parliament. The party threw everything they had into a by-election in Burnaby, British Columbia. It was do-or-die time for Singh's leadership. In February 2019, Singh finally tasted victory. He won the Burnaby South riding and at long last took his place in the House of Commons. His supporters breathed a collective sigh of relief. Now Singh would have a national platform to showcase his debating skills and rebuild the NDP's fortunes. But any hope of smooth sailing was quickly dashed. As Singh stepped onto the floor of Parliament for the first time, he was about to learn that the real political battles were just beginning.
Rather than to maybe give yourself some political cover, why didn't you say yesterday?
We're letting you know today.
How can you say this when you've said Trudeau must go repeatedly? How do you square that?
In a shocking move that left political observers stunned, Jagmeet Singh struck a deal to prop up Justin Trudeau's minority government. The 2019 federal election had created a precarious balance of power, with the Liberals clinging to a fragile minority. Singh saw an opening and took it, but at what cost? The NDP leader's decision to cooperate with the Liberals sent shockwaves through his own party. Longtime NDP supporters were outraged. How could Singh, who had promised to fight against Liberal policies, suddenly become Trudeau's ally?
Canadians are fighting a battle for the future of the middle class. Justin Trudeau has proven again and again he will always cave to corporate greed.
For Canadians watching at home, this doesn't look any different than when the Conservatives were in power. Nope. Special access for powerful corporations.
The backlash was swift and fierce. Singh defended the alliance, claiming he had secured important policy concessions from the Liberals. He pointed to promises of dental care coverage, affordable housing initiatives, and stronger climate action. But many saw these as empty gestures that fell far short of true NDP values. Critics accused Singh of selling out. They argued he had abandoned core NDP principles like pharmacare and tax reform just to gain a seat at the table. The deal reeked of political opportunism, they said. Singh was putting his own ambitions ahead of the party's integrity. As the cooperation between the NDP and Liberals deepened, a troubling trend emerged. The NDP's distinct voice in Parliament began to fade. Instead of offering a clear progressive alternative, Singh's party increasingly echoed Liberal talking points. Voters struggled to see any meaningful difference between the two parties.
The fact is, the Liberals are too weak, too selfish, and too beholden to corporate interests to fight for people.
In the next election, people have a choice. I stand by my words. Trudeau has let you down. Trudeau has let you down and does not deserve another choice.
The consequences for the NDP's identity were devastating. Once known as the conscience of Parliament, the party now looked like little more than Liberal enablers. Singh had transformed the NDP from fierce opposition into a rubber stamp for Trudeau's agenda. This controversial alliance would soon put Singh's leadership to the ultimate test.
That to me is a serious blow to his credibility. It really questions whether he cares about our country and our democracy.
As criticism mounted both inside and outside the party, many wondered, had Singh made a fatal miscalculation that would destroy the NDP's credibility for good? While Singh defended his deal with Trudeau, cracks were forming in the foundation of the NDP. Promises abandoned, supporters alienated, and a party in crisis. How much damage can one leader's decisions cause?
Focused on politics. I'll let other parties focus on politics. I'm focused on actually delivering the things that Canadians told me this summer.
That there's a politician that's willing to turn away, to look away while India engages in some of these heinous crimes.
Singh's credibility took a massive hit as key NDP campaign promises crumbled under his leadership. Climate change action and affordable housing, once central pillars of the NDP platform, fell by the wayside. Loyal party members watched in disbelief as their leader cozied up to the very Liberals he once vowed to oppose. Inside the NDP, dissent was brewing. Party heavyweights started voicing their frustration with Singh's leadership style and questionable decisions. the grumbling grew louder with each compromise, each abandoned principle. Singh's critics argued he was selling out the party's soul for a taste of power. The numbers painted a grim picture for Singh and the NDP. Polls showed the party's seat projections in freefall, with some analysts predicting they could lose half their seats in the next election.
Those cuts are going to hurt people. And that's why we're saying we are that alternative. We have shown that we can stop conservatives, we can beat them.
They cannot be the change. They cannot restore the hope. They cannot stop the conservatives, but we can.
Even worse, donations dried up as disillusioned supporters closed their wallets. The NDP war chest was running on fumes. Singh's flip-flopping on core NDP issues left supporters scratching their heads. One day, he'd rail against corporate tax loopholes. The next, he'd back down from pushing real reform. He'd promise to fight for workers' rights, then stay silent as labor disputes raged. This wishy-washy approach left many wondering, what does the NDP actually stand for anymore?
Or that governments have been in when there's minority governments. We're going to look at each vote, make a determination. It's very different from when we were in agreement.
As Singh's approval ratings among NDP voters plummeted to a dismal 30%, whispers of a leadership challenge grew louder. Party insiders started floating names of potential replacements, questioning if Singh could survive another election cycle. The possibility of a leadership review loomed on the horizon like a gathering storm. With each passing day, Singh's grip on the party weakened. Once hailed as a progressive champion, he now faced accusations of being nothing more than Trudeau's yes man. As the next election creeps closer, Singh finds himself trapped between a Liberal alliance he can't escape and an NDP base he may have lost for good.
Well, to call this a tumultuous time in Canadian politics would be quite an understatement.
Can he find a way to save his political career? Or is Jagmeet Singh's time as NDP leader coming to an inglorious end? Jagmeet Singh's political career is hanging by a thread. The once promising NDP leader now faces a credibility crisis that could spell the end of his leadership. As the next election looms, all eyes are on the NDP's next moves. Will they stick with Singh or look for new blood to revive their fortunes? The NDP is at a crossroads. Their identity crisis runs deep, with many supporters questioning if the party still stands for anything. Singh's deal with Trudeau has left the NDP looking like liberal lapdogs instead of a true progressive alternative. As we head into another election cycle, the big question remains, can the NDP survive this upheaval? Will they reclaim their role as Canada's conscience, or fade into irrelevance? The future of Canada's left-wing politics hangs in the balance. Don't take your eyes off the NDP. The next few months could change everything.